I teach a blended SBB class. In this class, there are students from the NT and the NA stream. As a teacher, I normally try to make small changes in the way I teach different students in class when a need arises in the course of a lesson. But in DI, it's a bit different. It means that there will be a deliberate plan to make sure that I prepare my students in a different way to scaffold their learning in order to stretch them the best they can. By doing so, I can make sure that they can maximize their learning and learn as much as they can in their classes. When you look at personal response, I think the key thing is that the students need to learn how to look at different texts and co-construct their knowledge together. Therefore, the question that struck me the most was whether my students are ready to share and discuss their good ideas. Some of my students in the class, they're actually not so good when they do their group discussions because they are not able to negotiate for meaning or to agree or disagree respectfully, as well as to ask good questions. That is why I think this is the best lesson for me to do my DI in the first place. With that in mind, I think my lessons will probably have to focus on how the students listen and view to make text-to-self connections and text-to-world connections. In this case, then the key strategy to have will be to participate respectfully in the discussion, how to agree or disagree at appropriate times, as well as to frame and ask questions politely to seek clarification and understanding. This Let's Talk game has different cards that they could use to help them scaffold their discussion. We have different groups that do better in their discussion and some groups that may not. Perhaps I will need to do differential instruction by process and scaffold the different groups based on their readiness. I will put students who have not done so well in class discussions in the previous lessons in the lower readiness group. I will pay more attention to these groups that require more guidance. How's your discussion going?
Not very well because we are not very sure about some stuff.
Not very sure about some stuff. Let's think first, what kind of goals that you guys may have. So Arifin, what goals do you have?
My goal is to be promoted to NA stream.
So my goal is same as Arifin, to get to promoted to NA stream.
Okay.
And the subjects I'm working on are math and Math.
Okay. So maybe Ashwin, you can try this card to expand on what you said.
I also want to improve on my math because that's one of the subjects that I'm not that good in.
So now Gerard, could you take the example card and give me an example of how, in this case, for maths, how can they make their goal measurable?
They can study hard and revise the topics they learn and do some word problems.
Now Hazel, I want you to use the paraphrase card.
So what he is saying is actionable because he is making action for his aim.
Okay, so he's taking different actions for his aims. So you can refer back. Yes, Richard?
May I add on
Yes, sure.
something?
Good.
Measurable is a thing that you can measure, like you get 75% above.
So this is how you can structure your discussions. You can always add on to what you guys are saying or use the different Let's Talk cards to prompt the discussion, or you could ask other questions that you can find here about how you can repeat, clarify or add on to each other's discussion. Can? Let's give it a try. I'll come back to you guys later. Okay.
Before Mr. Chia came in to help, our group was confused and don't know what to do. So Mr. Chia helped us to elaborate and talk about SMART goals.
We ask a lot of questions so that we can understand what the question is talking about.
Okay.
And we also ask you so that we can understand the words when we do not understand it.
We use these 4 cards and it helps us to elaborate more and lead us.
Okay, in your discussion?
Yes.
I like the lesson because we can get to know our friends better and what their goals are.
I get to find out the different types of goals that I have with my group members when we were doing the group work just now. And I thought we had very different goals, but then I realized that all of us have very similar types of goals.
When I listen to my friends, I can get more ideas about my goals.
I can learn from both my teachers and my friends, as my friend can explain more in details to me so that I can understand quicker.
I started out with the following question. How should I select and design English lessons for differentiated instruction? I've learned that I should identify learning outcomes that are critical to students' learning of English. And based on my knowledge of my students, I need to determine whether they can all attain these critical outcomes with the same or varying levels of support from me. So in this lesson, what I realized is that my students needed varying levels of support for them to better engage in collaborative and exploratory discussions. Hence, I designed a differentiated lesson to support them differently through designing differentiated tasks and providing appropriate scaffolding as they perform the learning tasks during the lessons. With this deliberate plan to differentiate the tasks and the scaffolding, what I saw was that the students were then able to work on each other's discussions by asking questions, by clarifying further, and to build on their discussions. The lower rated students with deliberate scaffold by differentiated instruction actually did much better than I expected compared to the other groups. One example was that they did better than other groups by being able to consolidate their group answers together. They could actually talk about their CCAs and their studies as a collated group response and apply their SMART goals to that. This kind of exploratory talk is what I was looking for in my lesson, and I feel that with differentiated instruction, I've managed to attain these learning outcomes better.